You're listening to Snippets from the Summit with your host, Scott McKay.
Oh, how's it going? This is your main man, Scott McKay, coming at you again with another episode of Snippets from the Summit as part of the Mountaintop Podcast from X&Y Communications. Some of you guys out there have done some real estate in your lives, buying or selling, either commercial or, your own personal home. Most of us, by the time we get to be, 30s, 40s, have bought and sold a home before. And you probably heard the term curb appeal. Now, if you're selling a home, you need curb appeal or else that house is going to languish on the market. So what do we mean by that? Well, when a real estate agent brings customers around, potential buyers in the market you're in, they look at your home from the outside and say, well, do I want to go inside? Does it seem like the house I'd like to live in? Is it engaging? Is it in good shape? Is the lawn green? Are there any visible problems that I'd have to get fixed myself with the house before we moved in, or that would be, a big problem after I moved in? And of course, once they're actually intrigued enough to go inside, the house has to continue that appeal once they're inside looking around, poking around at what the features of the house are, how it's designed, how it's painted, et cetera, et cetera. And the better the curb appeal, the more you're going to get for your house and the sooner it's going to sell. Now, I've learned a lesson about curb appeal firsthand. Last time I sold a house, which was a long time ago, I kind of didn't pay attention to a certain wallpaper issue in one of the rooms. And, I have to admit, there was part of the lawn that probably needed some work I should have put into it, but figured people will be able to look past that and they'll come, tour my house and love it and want to buy it anyway. Well, instead, the house went months and months without selling. Finally, I agreed with what my real estate agent had been telling me all along, and I fixed the wallpaper issue and I fixed the lawn. Guess what? The house sold within 2 weeks. Well, some of you are probably out there thinking, well, McKay, you big dumbass, of course you should have fixed that stuff and your house would have sold more quickly. But you know what? It's easy to see that forest for the trees when you're looking at someone else's problem as a third party. Now, here's where I'm going to drop a bomb on this whole conversation, because obviously this is not a real estate podcast. This is a Get Better with Women and Be a Better Man podcast. Guess what? Sex appeal is exactly like curb appeal. Okay, there you go. Sex appeal is a term that was popular in the 70s and 80s, and it basically describes someone who's attractive and who motos, members of the other sex, are going to genuinely and pretty much generally like and want to be with, even at a sexual level. But I've heard it used again recently by a couple of you guys out there, and it got me thinking about this relationship between sex appeal and curb appeal. It really is similar in that, guys, how you present yourself. Okay, and we're not necessarily talking about the genetic lottery here, okay? We're talking about how you groom yourself, making sure your facial hair is in order, keeping your nails clean, having a sense of fashion, doing the best with what you got really makes you, for lack of a better way to put it, more marketable to women. Now, importantly, curb appeal can apply to any neighborhood. It doesn't necessarily have to be multi-million-dollar mansions by the beach. It can apply to any other neighborhood. The better the curb appeal of any home out there, the faster it's going to sell and the more value it will be perceived to have. We as men are exactly like that. And if we're not going to lie around here, which I hope we're not, women are exactly the same way. A woman, if she does the best with what she's got, is going to look more attractive to you. She's a better makeup artist. She's got her hair done a certain way. She's got a sense of fashion. She knows how to carry herself in this feminine way. I guarantee you guys, you're noticing that woman before you notice someone who is not paying attention to those matters. And what happens when you walk inside the house? Well, if she's batshit crazy, or she doesn't like men, or if she's mean, or she has a scratchy voice or something like that, guess what? You're no longer attracted, right? But if she's sweet, she likes men, she's perfectly mentally sane and well-adjusted, and she's a lot of fun, and she's generous, and all those other traits that I generally bundle into the term connectability, right? Well then, hey, the curb appeal is that much greater. The sex appeal is that much greater. Now, just like you guys are thinking, well, McKay, why wouldn't you take care of the wallpaper? Why wouldn't you take care of the lawn in your house? Well, I'm going to ask you guys the same question. If it's also obvious that sex appeal and curb appeal are similar, then why aren't you keeping your own house in order? Are you letting yourself go just a little? Are you not exactly wearing the kind of clothes that are going to make you look like a successful man who's got things handled in his life? And yet you're saying to yourself, well, you know what? When my own private supermodel shows up out of nowhere, she's going to love me exactly the way I am. Are you kidding yourself like that? Because indeed, just like you guys can tell, I should have taken care of the wallpaper and the friggin' lawn on my home. Anybody who's a third party looking on knows that if you take care of yourself, if you put your house in order, then you're going to do better with women immediately. When we're talking about looks mattering to women, it isn't that you had to be tall, dark, handsome, et cetera, et cetera. It's that you're doing the best with what you got. You're increasing your sex appeal, just like you would increase curb appeal, right? So that you get maximum value and you find more women more quickly. Because it's exactly the same. But what happens when a woman walks inside your proverbial home? And to be sure, it's not only the outside of your home that matters, right? Are you one of these men going their own way who just thinks all women are horrible and everything's their fault? Are you thinking a woman should give to you and guard you and support you and protect you from your own little feelings and things like that? Well, then you're not going to have that sex appeal. You're not going to be appealing to a woman's sense of sexuality with who you are on the inside. Everything's got to be congruent. How you look on the outside, your curb appeal, has got to match how appealing you are on the inside when women get to know you. And just like you would look at maybe a Frank Lloyd Wright-ish looking house that looks a certain way, and then you walk in and it's like an Amish farmhouse inside, that would play games with a home's appeal. It's curb appeal, right? Well, if you're a big macho guy who seems masculine on the outside, but when a woman gets to know you, you're afraid of women, you're afraid of life, and she needs to basically play provider and protector for you and act like your mommy, well, guess what? That incongruency is going to wreck your sex appeal, just like incongruency would wreck a home's curb appeal. Curb appeal and sex appeal, very similar. And I've never heard anybody talk about this before, but now that I've laid it all out on the table for you, it makes a whole lot of sense, doesn't it? Want to talk about this or anything else? Scott at mountaintoppodcast.com. Be good out there.
As always, visit mountaintoppodcast.com for more.